Morning, Patty.
Yes, buddy. Yeah, I don't you want to sit on the couch and
Morning, Dennis.
leave you sausage and toast?
Good morning, Bob.
There's Rob. Hi, Rob.
Morning, guys. How you doing?
Hey, Rob.
Good. We have a mystery guest.
Who is that masked man?
Morning.
Somebody has too much time on their hands.
Did you know that you have a burger up your nose?
Wee. That's funny.
Mary, you must be in the RV.
Good morning, Rivka. Welcome to the Orangevale Rotary Club.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
Great.
And you are all incredible people for meeting at 7 a.m.
Patty, what did you say? What did
Yeah.
you say to me?
I said, can you hear me? And you are in the RV. You didn't tell me when you were going, but I assumed you were going right away.
No, we're doing taxes and we're getting dental appointments.
Mary Guthlieben never does taxes on time.
Yeah, no,
Come on. Who are
I'm
you?
retired.
You're so
I'm
different
retired.
than
It's
you
really
used to
easy
be.
now.
I don't even know you anymore. I truly don't. Hi, Jim.
I was mute.
Oh, no.
It's so quiet.
We're still sleeping.
Kidding.
Hi, Russ. It's nice to see you.
Come on.
Cannot hear you, though. Not yet.
There he is.
Hey, Bob, it's a long time. I haven't seen you in a long time. You and Dennis. I mean,
I saw both of them yesterday. No, I didn't see you, Lori.
I know. I'm sorry.
You were hiding.
Hey, I see you now, Lori.
Oh, here.
Hi, Joni.
Good morning. How are you, Patty?
I am doing the best I can. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. So
Yes,
far,
I
so
saw, Joni, that you got your second shot.
I did, and I'm still alive. Still alive?
If we're all alive, we're ahead of the game.
When did you get it, Joni?
I got it yesterday afternoon.
How you
Or
feel?
where it went.
How do you feel?
So far, I feel fine. I've been taking preventative ibuprofen, and because I had a reaction to the first one, so I was a little concerned about the second one. But so far, so good.
The second one is a little harder.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
At least the alternative, so I'm gonna take it.
Yeah, exactly. We take Joey today for his first one, so.
Okay, good.
I have to say, a tip I got from my doctor is that if you take some, as far as a supplement to feel better in a positive way, zinc and B complex.
Yeah, zinc doesn't agree with me.
Well, I think it's the dosage too, and sometimes a little bit is better than, too much.
Yeah, yeah.
As in
I've heard that zinc will absolutely galvanize you.
Oh, yeah. What? It's
I'm gonna
not
shut up
dad
now.
joke time yet.
No,
No, Jim, don't shut up. Let's hear more of those.
No, Jim, it's way too early.
Jim, is that the Don Russell joke for the morning?
I think we should test his metal.
Ah.
No, it's his magnetic personality.
I think Don Russell gets his jokes from Alexa.
No, I know where he gets his jokes. He gets his jokes from the little kids joke book, because I read the same ones to my granddaughters.
Okay, I think we're just about ready.
How
to
very
start.
young children can have such incredible senses.
Naturally, I'm having my
I
computer
want you to know
problem.
I'm not responsible for anything my club members say.
Hey, so far we're playing
So
fairly nice for us.
Mitch
Well,
is
Bob,
in
we
the
see
tornado this
you
morning.
and hear you.
Just so you know, I'm having.
Good morning, Sue. I so admire you for what you do. I saw you on
Everybody's
TV
real,
and I knew you were
cool
having a
to
very
listening to
hard
you
day.
talk.
Why don't
You're
you,
awesome.
you need to talk to
I'm
Jonathan,
just gonna
Bob?
Go to my other computer and then it won't let me get online, so.
Thank you, Patty.
Love you, Sue. So glad
I'm
I
going to
have you on our
rejoin the club, the
team.
meeting. I'll be here twice.
And
for everybody.
I'm excited to have Rivka Sass here today, who's one of my favorite people.
Good. Welcome, Rivka.
Well, thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Sue.
And you all should know Sue is one of my favorite people. It's been a blessing to have her on the library board, and last year she was chair.
Ours too.
I did my best to keep her as chair because she does wonderful work.
And I
On
bet
behalf
the
of
board
everyone.
supervisors will do too.
Bob, you've lost control and you never had it.
I know.
Love those.
Okay, I'm gonna, enough of this kibitzing. It's now 5 after, so we better start this meeting. So I'm going to ring the bell and say, welcome to the Rotary Club of Orangevale, California, where we get up every day to do something good for the world. And I'm going to, again, I don't know if I sound glitchy to you, but you are to me, so I'm trying to get to this other computer, which decided it couldn't find my router and stuff. So I'll be shifting over a little bit, Jonathan, if thing comes on. Otherwise, I'd like to begin. Is Kurt here or not? I don't see Kurt. He's supposed to do the invocation and he's probably still sleeping. Well, we can always go to our trusted backup invocator, Lori. Lori, would you mind getting us started with the invocation?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the gift of this glorious day. We thank you for laughter, for friends, and for health. We ask you to bless us as we go about our jobs and our duties and our escapades today, that we can bring joy into the world that so desperately needs it. Remind us that we are here to serve, not to take. And as always, we ask that you bless us on our journey wherever it takes us. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, starting off, introduction of visiting Rotarians. And don't think we have any visiting Rotarians this morning. We have a visitor. Sue, why don't you introduce our
I am
visitor
a
since you're
visiting
such a lady?
Rotarian.
She is a Rotarian.
Oh, you are? Okay, great. I wasn't sure if you were or not. So Sue, are you going to introduce her? I guess not.
Oh, she probably can't hear.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I don't
I'm
know if
so
you're all
sorry.
hearing me okay, because
Yes, I'd be delighted to introduce Rivka. I know Rivka is a Rotarian, and I think she's a member of the Downtown Sacramento, but I can't remember. Rivka is a learned individual,
big club.
not only book learned, but education wise. But I know Rivka through the library, Sacramento County Library Authority, where she is the CEO. And she has seen the library system through the hardest of times and the best of times, but mostly the hardest of times, and brought it back to the best of times. She's amazing as a leader, but as well, she is a compassionate soul. And she probably has all kinds of master's degrees and an education that I'm not doing
One.
a job, but I'm just letting you know, I hold her in very high regard, and I'm excited to have her here today. Thank you, Rivka.
Okay, thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Okay, well, now she's been officially welcomed, so we can move on a little bit. For announcements, I have several. First of all, the Constitution and Bylaws Committee has finished its work mostly. What we're doing now is we've sent out the final drafts of each to the board for their perusal, and then early next week or some middle of next week, I'm going to have a little special meeting of the board to go over this and okay it. And if the board okays it, which I expect to happen, then we'll bring it. I will at that point send it out to the entire club so that you can all look it over. And then next Friday, I would like to have the club approve it. Just so you know, next Friday, rather than a program, we're going to have what I'm calling a club update. I want to take the time next week to go over things like this Constitution and bylaws. To take a little time to get that. There may be questions and so forth for that, and I'll take a little time. Plus, I'd like to get the club updated on things that we've been doing. It's really hard to do it, to know what all is really going on when we're meeting like this. And so I'm going to ask each of the chairs to give a little update on their particular operation, talk about the things that we have accomplished this year and the things that we might or will be able to accomplish between now and the end of June. By then, we may know something about being able to get together in person. We'll see how all these things happen. But we are talking, going to be talking to Eileen about that and seeing when the next iteration happens, if we'll be able to get back to where we really want to be. So anyway, I think it'll probably take most of the meeting to get through the various things that we have to do. So that's what's going to happen next week. Also, I got actually, this is an invitation from the big club in Sacramento. They're having, no, I can't find my, there it is. I'm going to send out I'm going to copy this email and send it to all of you. It's an invitation to a special Rotary meeting that they put together. It's it's Tuesday, February 23rd at 11 a.m. in the morning. They're going to have a special program, and the speaker will be Holger Knack, the president of RI. I assume from all the way from Germany or something. Who knows where he is at this where he'll be that day. I doubt that he's doing a lot of flying around the world like they usually do. But it's an opportunity to hear directly to our district, basically. He's a nice guy. I met him and heard him speak a little bit at PETS. And I'm sure he'll have a very interesting talk. So if you've got some time, you might want to put that in your calendar. And like I said, I'll send you the email that has the link to the Zoom meeting, because it will be a Zoom meeting. So that's that. Also, let's see. Well, Mr. Russell, as we'll get it over with, what do you got?
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Don Russell. I'm your club service chairman.
Hi, Don.
Hey, let's see, who can I pick on today? Hey, Dave Shepard, are you paying attention there? What kind of music do planets listen to, Dave? What kind of planets? What kind of music do planets listen to? Anybody? You're on mute, Dave. Dave, you're on mute. What kind of music do planets listen to? Dave's doing the dance. They listen to Neptunes. You'll get that one. You'll get that one later, Dave. Okay. Next up, Dine Around. The next Dine Around is Tuesday, the 23rd. So get your calendar out, mark it. This is going to be a Zoom Dine Around. Tuesday, the 23rd at 5:55 p.m. That's 5 minutes to 6. Next Tuesday, the 23rd. And this Dine Around is going to be Zoom with rooms. So any of you that have done Zoom with rooms, part of the idea is that you can go into different rooms and chat with your friends on different topics. So maybe Patty wants to go into rooms and talk about jokes that she knows, or Mary goes into rooms and wants to talk about travel that she's been on, or I don't know, maybe Sean Palmer wants to talk a little bit about business. So you can move from room to room and talk about, and this will be kind of an experimental thing. So be compassionate with me as far as your opinions and so forth, Audrey. Thank you. That's all that I have for you today. And thank you for being here. Bob?
Thank you, Don. Okay.
Bob just got the joke.
Bob?
Now,
It's
last
Ann.
night we
I
did have a
wonder
meeting
if
of
there's
the,
a moment that I could give some good news.
Oh, sure. Go ahead, Ann.
Okay. The good news is that tomorrow is the launching of the virtual exchange program. And our boy from Casa Roble, Eli, learned yesterday that his match partner is from southern Brazil. All he knows is the area. And tomorrow through Zoom, he will meet him and the relationship will begin. Mike McGibbon is going to be there as counselor, I as another counselor. It's really exciting. We had a very good meeting Wednesday night. Last details about this amazing program. And what I learned, I wanted to share, is that our district 5180 is the only district in the entire United States doing a virtual exchange.
What?
Planning it, making it happen. It happens tomorrow. It will go on for 7 weeks. And at some point, Eli and his partner will be visiting our club. We'll make sure that that happens at least once, if not twice, to report on how things are going. Wouldn't you say that's a bit of good news? Something to be proud of? I'm proud of it. And then also I
Yeah,
wanted
good
to
for
say
us.
that coming up for Interact is a very important project. We're about to launch again a drive for Celeste Roseberry McGibbon's program of Love Talk Read. So it will be our Rotary Club, the Casa Roble community and students, and it will start the first week in March and go all during the month. So I would say that's another very good bit of news, wouldn't you? Thank you.
And
Yes.
will you need a program slot for the RYE kids?
Yes, that's a good point.
Okay, thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Patty, do you have an announcement?
I'm sorry, who?
Patty?
I don't. If Patty has an announcement, you're.
My partner and my Rotarian sponsor, Ann Higley.
I don't know what's going on, Patty, but now you're muted again. We can't hear you, Patty. Okay, let's try moving on. One more announcement. As I was saying, I think we met last night with the fundraising committee, and we're starting to put together a couple of things that we're going to be doing between now and the end of the year. One is a very novel approach, and I'd like Jonathan to tell us a little about it.
So we're looking to organize a disc golf fundraising tournament, and it's in its early stages, but I've already done some research and created an outline for it. But I'm going to be organizing a roundtable discussion on it. It will include club members and non-club members, but basically to get a lot of input, ideas. I've never organized a fundraiser of this magnitude, so I'm going to be leaning on a lot of club members who have been involved with the crab feed and other fundraisers to get their input and to kind of make sure this thing is well organized. So it's we're looking at roughly doing it at one of the local courses, either Shady Oaks or Miller Park. And we are looking to do it sometime later this year, possibly in the spring or early fall. And so stay tuned for, me sending out some emails and getting together with people. So that's pretty much the general line or update.
Great, thanks, Jonathan. Yeah, this isn't going to be just something for apparently there's quite a large interest in this thing. I mean the golf, the disc golf world, but we're going to be expanding it somewhat to include the whole club and to include families. We thought this would be a way to have a fundraiser that instead of just the grown-ups go to a crab feed, it would be involving their kids and grandkids and neighbors and whoever you want come over to the park and have a day of it, or at least anyway, there's going to be more to it than just people come and play disc golf. It's going to be kind of an interesting event. We'll see it. I'm sure we're the only Rotary Club around doing anything like that. So that's one thing. But then also we're considering a drive-by. It could be a crab feed. It might be a barbecue dinner. And so we've got a couple of different things going, and I think it'll probably be a couple of things that we will end up doing between now and then. And then there's one other element that I'll get into later. Excuse me. So anyway, we've had made some real good progress with this group, and I really appreciate everybody's help. And just stay tuned. We'll have more information about this as we go along. So that's that's my announcements. Does anybody else have an announcement that I didn't know about? I don't see anybody saying it's good. Okay. Foundation minute, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Bob. As always, I'm here to help anybody with donations to the Rotary Foundation. One of our goals this year is to become an E-Ray club. And if you haven't made a donation since June 1 or July 1, please see me and I'll help you get that into the system. And our goal was also 10,000 in annual giving, and we are about at 8,900 or somewhere in the $9,000 range. We also need donations to Polio Plus. So if you are so inclined, I also would like to ask everyone to consider enrolling on the Rotary Direct donation system. It's very easy to sign up for, and I can send you something on it if you're interested. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Bill. So we have a vocational talk this morning. Mr. McKibben, you're on.
Hello, everybody. What I wanted to take my time doing was to celebrate something that's coming up on March 1st, and that is the 60th anniversary of the Peace Corps. The Peace Corps was started with a group of students from the University of Michigan that wrote to the Kennedy campaign talking about you ought to have a plank in your platform related to volunteering and in particular young people volunteering. So the letter got to a fellow by the name of Harris Wofford. Harris Wofford was a man of a good deal of stature. In fact, he was the man that took the notions of Mahatma Gandhi and brought them to Martin Luther King. So the whole notion of nonviolence was actually started there. And Harris Wofford ended up being the director of civil rights in the Kennedy administration. And so a group of students at 2 o'clock in the morning got this letter to John Kennedy, and that was the beginning of the thing. And the first volunteers were sent to various countries. Peace Corps has now been in more than 100 countries around the world. There are somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 returned Peace Corps volunteers with the goals of learning more about the peoples of the world. The second goal was to provide kinds of vocational service in those countries, and the third was to bring back the notions of service to this country as the third goal. And indeed, I continued to be a board member on the Sacramento Valley Returned Peace Corps Volunteers, and we have actually about 700 volunteers in this area. My group was called India 16 because we were the 16th group to go to India in 1965. And we also had and we were trained in a place called St. John's College in Annapolis, Maryland. We had a sister group that was being trained in a place that I'd never heard of. It was called University of California, Davis. And those people were all ag majors. Those of us that went to St. John's were all liberal arts people. And we were an experimental group, and which the same gentleman, Harris Wofford, had created. And we got to, there were about 92 of us, all of us liberal arts majors. We got to St. John's, and they took us down to the Severn River, which is right across from the Naval Academy. And they had a bunch of chicken wire and 4x8 plywood and 2x4s and so forth. And they looked at us and said, "Those are chicken houses, build them." And that was the beginning of our Peace Corps experience. Well, for all of us, the closest we'd ever been to poultry and chickens was on a plate. And so for the next 13 weeks, we received more than 200 hours of training in how to debeak chickens, to give vaccinations to chickens, various diseases, how to cook them, how to make them, just about everything that you can do. And and that was the beginning. 3 months later, we were supposed to go to India. India and Pakistan decided to have a war at that time. So we were instead sent to Israel, where I lived on a kibbutz for the next 2 months, literally was guarded by people with AK-40, well, actually these were Uzis, and so forth. And in fact, lived in these metal things where we were shot at, in fact. 2 months later, went to India and went into the place where I was, a little town by the name of Tonk, where indeed there were foxholes in front of my house from the war. So here was a Peace Corps volunteer that's first 2 experiences in the Peace Corps were both in war zones. Our job was to teach people how to raise chickens. I developed a poultry co-op. I helped put together a feed mill, and that I did during the time was work with young people, particularly in athletics and different kinds of things, because mostly what Peace Corps volunteers were about, we were in the hope business and trying to talk to these kids about what their future is, what their business is. And hopefully that now 55, 56 years later, hopefully I'm still in the hope business, still eat chickens, still eat eggs, and that part of service was what has prompted basically a 50-some year experience in volunteerism, culminating in what we're doing right here in Orangevale. That's fun.
Well done. Thank you very much. We're all applauding. Nicely done, Mike. Okay, it's prospector time. Mr. Morris, is it you today? I see you as opposed to your lovely wife.
Yeah, you're stuck with me this morning.
Well, you notice that Kurt did finally show up, so don't forget about that, Mr. Late Timer.
Okay, let's lead with that because I don't otherwise have much dirt. Just gonna do some questions. So Kurt, put in $1 for.
I can still do a prayer if you need some more prayers. I can do.
We have prayed. So
Pray he'll be generous to you.
I'll do another invocation if you want. If you guys need some more prayer.
I'll pay $1 to hear his prayer.
I don't want to upset the president.
Oh, well,
Or it's too late.
There's never too much time for prayer. I mean,
That's what I was going with. So if you want to hear it.
Okay, well, we've been dying to hear what you were gonna say. So why don't we take a moment in our prospecting to hear Kurt Communis's very late invocation.
For only $1?
Yeah, it's got to be more than $1, but go ahead.
Holy Lord, everything we need is found in you. For those of us who come here feeling broken, bring restoration. For those of us who come here feeling weak, bring strength. For those who come here weeping, bring joy. For those of us who come here with doubt, bring faith. For those who come here feeling shame, bring freedom. For those of us who come here feeling burdened, bring rest. For those of us who come here feeling anxious, bring peace. Through Jesus Christ our Lord, amen.
All right, well done. Better late than never, as I always say.
For those that come late, bring cash.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to go with the fact that this upcoming week there's a whole bunch of different days that are interesting in there, and we'll go some questions about that. Of course, today itself is Lincoln's birthday, and if you are young enough that you don't remember having Lincoln's birthday and Washington's birthday off from school, or you live somewhere that they didn't do that, put in $1. And let's see who to pick on. Steve Blair. We know that Lincoln was born in Kentucky. He became senator from Illinois before he was president. How old was he when he moved to Illinois?
30.
That's incorrect. Mitch, take a stab at it.
What was the question again, Alex?
How old was Lincoln when he moved to Illinois?
9.
That's incorrect too. And that'll be $1. The answer is 21. Today also is Lunar New Year.
And
Sometimes referred to as.
incidentally, we should point out that he moved to Illinois from Indiana.
That's correct.
How much
In
are
the
you
interest
finding
of
him,
time,
Don?
I was going to cut all that out just in the interest of time. Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year. Mike, as long as you're there, what's the animal for this year?
A rhinoceros.
That's incorrect. That'll be $1. Mary, your face came up on my screen, so how about you give it a stab?
It's the year of the ox.
Very good, but you don't get off that easily. What was last year?
I think it was the year of the rat, but I'm not sure.
That's correct. So that you get off without a
rat?
fine. The rat.
Hmm.
Bert, what year number is this year? Is she there?
I'm here. Now you hear me. The lunar
Okay.
year. Oh, all right. Gee, I just watched Lunar Red Envelope Celebration last night on FaceTime, but I don't recall the year. I'm just going to take a stab at 2061.
That's incorrect. Who else? Dennis Sarkisian. What's the year number? That was $1, by the way. All of these are $1.
2,490.
Incorrect. It is the year 4,719. So we'll move off that and move things right along.
Just
The
keeping track,
14th.
Don, of that.
I got it.
Yeah, Rob.
No.
Rob,
Who came up with the 4,000 something?
The Chinese.
the Chinese did.
What?
They have an old
Yeah,
civilization we do. Sunday, of course, is Valentine's Day, the feast of Saint Valentine. Let's see, who else can I? Bill Wagner, what century did Saint Valentine live in?
The 9th century.
That's incorrect. That'll be $1. Let's see, somebody else pick on here. Audrey, you want to take a stab at that? What century?
I have no idea.
Okay. It was the 3rd century.
The 3rd?
The 3rd century.
Yikes.
Sean, why do we celebrate it on February 14th?
Can you repeat the question one more time here? Sorry, that was
That's okay. Why do we celebrate St. Valentine's Day on February 14th?
that wasn't because of the massacre, was it?
No, that came much later. It was the day that he was martyred, so put in $1 for that one.
I thought it was the day that the Hallmark store opened.
Could be that too. The 15th is a holiday. Most of us have a 3-day weekend. Patty, what's the official name of that holiday? Anyone?
President's Day.
That's what everybody thinks it is, but that is incorrect. So that'll be $1.
Oh.
It's actually Washington's birthday. They moved the celebration of it from February 22nd to the 3rd Monday in February to make it a holiday. Jonathan, what year did they first start celebrating Washington's birthday on the 3rd Monday?
What year? Let's say 1831.
No.
I may be old, but I'm not that old. That'll be $1, and that was 1971 was the first observation of
Oh.
that holiday. And then on the 16th we have Mardi Gras. Colleen, what is the literal translation of Mardi Gras?
A bead party.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
A bead party.
That's incorrect. That'll be $1. Somebody else. Jim Button, literal translation of Mardi Gras.
Fat Tuesday.
Very good. Now you're not off the hook yet. Why is it called that?
Oh, I don't know. All I can do is picture Al Hurt. No, I'm sorry. I have no answer.
Okay, that'll be $1. I'll tee this one up for Lori. You tell them, why is it called Fat Tuesday?
Because it's the feast before the fast.
Okay, going into
And we celebrate that in our house.
Yeah, going into the season of Lent. Okay, one more holy event coming up this next week. Who's pick on somebody? Joni, what's the other holy event coming up this next week?
Holy
crap. What?
Didn't hear that one.
What? Can you hear me?
Holy crap.
No, that'll be $1. Sue Frost, what event is coming up this week?
Ash Wednesday.
That's one that's happening, but that's not what I was looking for, so that'll be $1. Rob, why don't you give that a stab?
I got no idea. Put myself down for $1.
Okay. Pitchers and catchers report to spring training.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. That's holy in my world.
And that is the holiest of days.
You bet. Okay, enough of that. Let's do some happy finds. And let me preface this by this computer. I've never been able to get the Brady Bunch view, so I can't see people. So don't wait for me to call on you. If you got a happy find and nobody's talking, jump in. Go ahead.
Bertie
Okay,
has one. Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. If you can see this, Jim Button, you know exactly what that is. I went on a 2-hour walk yesterday. This is Jim Button's front yard. And I had a friend take a picture of me picking his orange. I really didn't pick that one, but he came out. He's a good watchdog for his oranges. So he said,
She got chased
"Here."
off by the dog.
Yeah, the horse is saved by the dog. Anyway, this is from Button's tree. So he's moving soon. So I would imagine we could all go over there and pick an orange. But thank you, Jim.
You're welcome.
I
And you,
about that, Bert.
Can you hear me?
Now
Yes.
we can.
You can now? Oh, good. My husband's been trying to silence me for years.
who said that? Okay. Well, I will put in $10 for International Darwin Day, and also agree that you can certainly come over and pick some oranges. Although we have to leave some for the new buyers who are taking a walk through today, so they don't take them all.
Okay, anybody else? We need to get to a program here. I think we're good. Okay, great. Good job, Don. Thank you very much. Now we always make, at least we can make a little bit of money when we're having one of these kind of meetings. So now, without any further ado, Russ, would you like to introduce officially our speaker this morning?
I made a phone call or an email, I can't remember which, to the Orangevale Library asking for a speaker, and little did I know that I would wind up getting the CEO of the entire Sacramento library system, so I was quite excited about that. Rivka Sas, when I first started corresponding with her, said that she was a member of the big club in Sacramento. And she said, does she get any extra points for being a Rotarian? I said, well, no extra points, but we will add a 0 to the end of your speaking fee. So instead of 0, it's double 0. But Rivka is, as Sue said, obviously quite an asset to our community. And I'm glad that we have the opportunity to hear a little bit about how the library is doing through this entire nonsense of COVID. Rivka.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I really am delighted to be here. And if you hear a little bit of background noise, it's because the interior of my house is being painted as we do this. So, but I really am happy to be here, and I'll share a few things, including an update about your new and improved Orangevale Library. But as I was thinking about what I wanted to say this morning, I wanted to call my talk "Why Rotary is Like a Library," but maybe it really is why libraries are like Rotary, because when I think about and I'm a latecomer to Rotary. I was a member when I was director of the Omaha Public Library. I was a member of the club there, and I didn't feel like I was a good fit for it. And I don't know how much you know about Omaha, Nebraska, but it's a really wonderful community, but there are way too many billionaires there, and I just didn't fit. And I came to Sacramento and was sort of reluctant to think about Rotary again, and joined a few years ago. And I have to say, I really appreciate the work you do, and I appreciate the lens with which you all look at the world, because I think it's a very librarian-like lens. When you look at the four-way test, right? Is it the truth? Well, libraries are all about providing facts to people. We want people to read and to think and then to make their own decisions. I think that that's important. Is it fair to all? There is no more egalitarian institution than your public library. We've been around in this country for more than 250 years. I credit Benjamin Franklin with the concept, but it was Thomas Jefferson who gave his personal library to start the library at what we now call the Library of Congress. And he said it was one of his pride and joys. And will it build goodwill and better friendships? I think that, again, whether it's book clubs that library offer or the programs that we used to be able to offer when pre-COVID, and we would get 200 or 300 people downtown in our library galleria to hear a speaker or an author. Huge turnout for our story times and summer reading programs. The little Orangevale Library, the one that occupies that 4,000 square feet of space that's being expanded, was so popular during our summer reading program that we had to move to the Parks Department on Hazel, gave us space to do the programs there because the community was so engaged. So I think there's a lot of commonality in what we do, and just listening to all of you and hearing that wonderful history of the Peace Corps and making how it came to be. And I do have a question. I can't see Michael on my screen, but he mentioned St. John's College, and I heard a rumor, so maybe he can verify it. I worked in Baltimore for a couple of years. Is it true that there was a croquet tournament with the Naval Academy?
I've heard the same rumor. Yes, I think there was.
And I believe St. John's College always won.
Always.
So I don't know. I find that a really pretty delightful thing. So I want to talk a little bit about how the library's adapted during COVID, and I'll try to be quick, because you end at 8, or Yeah, 8 a.m. So we immediately, when we closed our doors on March 18th, which seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it feel like we've all been in this pandemic way too long? There was that momentary feeling of paralysis and kind of grieving for, what do we do now? It was almost like a sudden death not to be able to, if any of you have experienced that, not to be able to open our doors and serve the public that we serve every day. But within 2 weeks, we had story times online for our youngest families, for the very, very young children. We have online book clubs. We made sure that people understood all of the things that they have access to virtually. Now, I know that doesn't do much for those people who are not either computer savvy or understand technology. So we then work to, how do we reach those people? So our library staff, within 6 weeks of closing, were making census calls to make sure everybody filled out their census forms. They were helping with a senior meals program, making calls and troubleshooting that program. So it was called the Great Plates program, and it's actually still working. We added mobile printing, because what do people do with libraries? A lot of people come in and they just want to print something out. Well, guess what? We all hate tax season, but you can actually use, if you don't have a printer at home, you can stop by the library and we'll print tax forms for you, for example, for free. We did open within a few weeks. I think it was in May, about the middle of May, we opened for curbside pickup. So just like picking up your meal at your favorite restaurant, you can put books on hold, request books, and we'll make them available to you. We'll put them in a bag, put them out on a table, and you can stop by and pick them up. So those are the just a few ways that we've adapted. But we also, and this has been very important for our parents who are at home, whose kids are, I think you're doing a better job out in the Orangevale area. The San Juan School District I think has adapted far better for its student population than the city of Sacramento, which seems to be in a place of kind of paralysis around how to reopen and actually serve students effectively. And I'm not saying that in a critical way. I think it's just the way it is. We do job coaches virtually. We help veterans virtually. We have an English language learning group that meets on Zoom. And I attended one of the sessions, and it was fascinating because here were 25 people. Imagine all of us right now. There are 27 people on this Zoom. There were about 25 people, all whose native language is not English, talking to one another, facilitated by our literacy supervisor. So those are the kinds of things that we've been able to do. We have live homework help. One of the things that we hope to do very soon is add some outdoor homework help, because as we know, if we're outside, it's a lot easier to stay healthy. So those are a few things. We now, your Fair Oaks Library, I know it's not Orangevale, we'll talk about that in a minute, but your Fair Oaks Library is open for browsing. So you can go in and look for your own books. We're still happy to do it for you, but you can do that. There are computer appointments. We're trying to be as adaptable as we can until we can be together again in person, because one of the things that I think has hit some of us harder than others, some of us who work at the library, is not being able to see our patrons. Yes, I'm the CEO of the library, but I work in a real library. I work in the library downtown, and it's very hard not to see some of our regulars and not to be able to interact with the kids who come for story times, not to be able to see the kids who are coming in for field trips and discovering the library, which, you know, is kind of magical. If you live out in Galt and you come to downtown Sacramento on a field trip and visit the library, it's really fun for us to share that experience. And you know, we all look forward to being together again. We also know that that is not necessarily something that's going to happen quite as soon as we would like to see. But I think one thing libraries have done, and I'm really proud of Sacramento Public Library, is to actually figure out how we can be of service to our community while we have to be socially distanced and keep our doors closed. So those are, you know, those are just a few of the services that we have been able to ramp up very quickly and offer. But all of those services require things that not everybody in our community has. They require an internet connection. They acquire the literacy to be able to use that internet connection effectively, and they require the equipment needed to use that connection effectively. And one of the things that we have truly discovered is that not everybody has that. And I worry about, you know, I'm not an educator. What I always say about librarians is that I call us free range educators, but please don't debeak us as we learned about from Mr. McKibben. We care about learning. We care about providing that access to people so that they can learn for themselves, but we are not educators. I have a master's degree in library and information science. I learned how to look for information, how to evaluate information, how to serve children, and a little bit about how to manage libraries. That's something that they don't actually teach you as much as they should in library programs. But often, I was 24, 25 when I started library school. You're not thinking about ever being a manager at that point, or at least I wasn't. I was thinking about how I can serve the public. I came to it from juvenile detention. Not that I was in juvenile detention, I worked in juvenile detention and decided that being a librarian was one way to help people get out of the cycle they were in. And I'm really grateful that I did that. And it was because the Sonoma County Juvenile Hall had this little tiny room they called a library. Well, did you know that Sacramento's youth detention facility also has a library? Not because it's part of the formal structure of the detention center, but because somebody reached out to us. I didn't know they didn't have a library, and it is a part of our regular budget or theirs. Donors came out, and every year we get a significant donation. We send a librarian out before COVID to actually make sure it's a real library for the kids, because the average reading level of someone in juvenile detention is 4th grade. So I think we all know how well someone with a 4th grade reading level can function in our society. We have to help everybody, I think, who can't help themselves. And that goes back to Rotary and the good work that Rotary does with polio eradication, with water, with clean water around the world, with all of the amazing projects that you folks do. And I just think that we have so much in common. And I didn't really think about it until I got on this call this morning. And I was listening to the stories and realizing we are brothers and sisters together. So let me talk a bit about the Orangevale Library. I know we're all waiting anxiously for it to reopen. And that's really thanks to the amazing vision of Sue Frost, who, how many of you know that she is relentless? Absolutely relentless. She doesn't stop until sorry, I have to tell, whenever my safety manager reaches out, I have to let her know I'll call you in a minute. Sue would not give up. And the other thing I want to say about this woman, having worked with her now for, I guess, 4 years, 5 years, she doesn't give up until she understands. She is the ultimate learner. She doesn't give up until she fully understands an issue and can address it. And she doesn't give up until she kind of gets what she wants. And that's what's happening with the Orangevale Library. We're going to have a lovely library with a community room. It's just taking a little bit longer than all of us want it to take. And I see Don Morris on the call, and he's appeared before the Library Authority Board on a number of occasions and spoken up for your community. And of course, there was nobody like Jane Wise, an amazing woman who I always felt a little bit like I might be getting into trouble with her. She was an incredible advocate for your community. And I think we all miss her very much. And we miss how she helped so many people. I have library staff who told me she was their teacher. And she was another wonderful advocate. So Orangevale is coming. We're working on some deadlines. I'm expecting some information literally today that will help us figure out when that's happening. But you will have a lovely library that is about twice the size of the current location. It will allow for better programming, for better access, for more computers. And I think really, most importantly, when we can all get together again, a space. Community rooms are critical because it allows us to be together. So if I can, I think we have a couple of minutes left. I'm happy to answer questions. Hattie?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thank you for what you do, especially in Orangevale. And libraries in general are extremely an important avenue for people to help themselves. When I've been desperate in my life, there's two sources. There's my family and the library, and maybe the library is the first source because it is truer information than in a problematic family. And to close that avenue down when the public needs it the most is a travesty that is increasing violence. I don't even like to listen to the local news anymore because of the violence. And with taking every avenue away from people, what do we expect? I know we're doing it for health, but people dying from violence is also just a little bit of a health problem. And also it's freedom. Societies that are closed and have dictators and terrible situations in their country, they get rid of information for people to make decisions, which a library has. So not allowing the poorer people and immigrants, which I found from talking to the former principal of Casa Roble High School, is making unequal opportunities for young people because the only access a lot of them got and protection away from their neighborhoods has been to go to their local library. And I saw that immensely. The junior high kids came to study because they had no access any other way in a safe opportunity because their parents, each of the mother and father are working low-paying jobs just to get by barely. You know, that's what I saw when I tutored at what is it?
Is there a question in there, Patty?
Yeah, the question is that they should be open more, and we do not have one right now. And Folsom is doing a better job because at least we're open. They're open in Folsom where you can stay there for an hour.
And we are as well. I want to.
No, not in the same way. It's not the same environment. I know you guys are doing the best you can, but if you've ever been to the Folsom Library, it's a different experience.
We will, I'll take a look at that, Patty, and see what we can do. You know, one of the things that we keep saying is that we're building the plane while we're flying it. And I'll also say this, and I don't mean to offend anyone who is a huge advocate of unions. We are unionized, and every single decision we make is being challenged and questioned. So we're trying to balance some people who really don't want to come to work with trying to keep everybody safe, with following. I will tell you the other thing is that Folsom reached out to me because they had concerns about being open. And I said, well, we're following what Dr. Bielenson, who was the public health director at the time, was telling us. He was guiding how we reopened and approving everything that we did. And it wasn't until Folsom actually followed our lead that I think, and they closed down and rethought. So we can certainly.
You're not closed down, ma'am. I applaud you for doing
Patty, with all respect, I'd be happy to talk with you after. I think I'd like to be able to answer questions and hear what the other members of the Rotary group have to say, if that's okay.
Thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you. Russ? You're muted.
Sorry about that.
We all need t-shirts. You're muted.
Yeah. Two quick points. For those of you who are used to reading things on your tablet as opposed to physical books, stop buying them from Amazon and spending your money. Go to Libby. It is totally free. It's just like checking out a book at the library itself. You can check it out online and you've got it for 3 weeks. You can renew it. They have wait lists. It's a great thing. But also, one other thing, we were told at one point in the past by the Orangevale Library about a tool checkout where you could rent tools, you could rent all of these different. Is that still available at any of the libraries?
It is available.
You froze.
Our arcade library, which is on Marconi. Am I okay now? I can see. Okay.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. Our arcade library has we call it the Library of Things. And you can check out everything from a microscope to a lawnmower to a leaf blower. So if you go to our catalog, and I think if you search Library of Things, then you can see what tools that we have available. And quick story, the director of the Folsom Library has worked for us at one point, and that was her baby. She came up with that idea. It's been great. We will also have a cake pan library one of these days after COVID. We're not, you'll be able to rent very, like the cake pan that you don't want to pay $30 for because it's Yoda, those kinds of things. So, and I want to also mention that in addition to Libby or Overdrive, our ebook platform, we have another platform called Hoopla. And Hoopla has books, films, and music. It's much more limited. You only get 5 checkouts during a month, but it's the great way for me. I'm listening to the Outlander series, and those books are 40 hours long, and that's how I do it. Sue Frost.
I just wanted to, first of all, I wanted to say I totally understand where Patty's coming from, because the library is kind of the heart of, especially for the underserved who don't have those resources at home. It's a gathering place. And I also want to say that it was like a hurricane of circumstances that the library system ran into. Number one, just to get the board to be willing to, to find a way to get an expanded library in Orangevale, because everyone perceived that because Fair Oaks and Folsom were so close by, Orangevale didn't need that space. And in our community, we did. But the other thing that happened is one of our librarians were murdered. I don't know if you remember. And in the process of planning the Orangevale Library, we ran into some obstacles with where the plumbing was, because we were transitioning a salon to a library, and the salon was willing to move, so they had to move the plumbing. On top of that, Rivka took the extra effort to redesign after the murder of the librarian, who was a superstar in our library authority and one of our leaders, to redesign our Orangevale library so that we have, in the event of someone coming in with a gun or something like that, we actually have designed it so there's a safe room and a plan around that. And so there was a lot of thoughtful planning that went into it. And so I just wanted to give kudos to the library authority staff who, all the delays were not the fault really of the library authority. It was more you know how construction is with the county. Anyone who's tried to get a business permit or construction permit with the county, it's a challenge. But the end product is going to be better because of the thoughtful planning that went into it. And I think, and then COVID on top of everything else complicated. I won't even go into the challenges with employees during COVID, but I do want to say that I'm grateful for the way that Rivka redesigned the library, the situation around where young people will be, where they can't be isolated, where no one can see them. There was some very thoughtful planning that went into it, which I think over time is going to be good for our community. And so I just wanted to let you know that also. Anyway.
Thank you, Sue. I really appreciate that. Jim?
I just wanted to comment, as I did to you, that I enjoy using Flipster, which enables me to look at magazines, arcane magazines in some cases, like Archaeology Today, that I would never go buy. And I think it's going to affect my car and driver subscription, since I won't have to take that anymore in hard copy. Also, the Libby app is really great for books. I used Overdrive before, but Libby is just easy as anything. So I highly recommend those.
And we're also happy to provide instruction for people. You can call our number. We're having some phone issues right now, but if you have internet access, you can also chat with us, and we can help get you set up with all of those. And again, check out Hoopla. The collection isn't as broad as Overdrive's, but it has some pretty cool books in it. So anyway, thank you. And I want to thank you all. And I know you all know how lucky you are to have Sue Frost as your supervisor, but I just want to mention that again. I've really, this is my last year with the library. I'll be heading off into the sunset to have a new adventure. I volunteer sometimes at the Syrian refugee camp that's in Jordan. And I want to be certified to teach English as a second language. I'm probably too old for the Peace Corps, so it will be my...
Never too old for the Peace Corps.
Well, it's funny. I just talked to my neighbors about it. We had a Zoom cup of tea a couple of weeks ago, and they were in the Peace Corps about 10 years ago at mid-career.
Right.
And I was really inspired by the chat we had. So who knows? Maybe you'll find me debeaking chickens somewhere. Thank you. Thank you all so much. It's been a real pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you. Unfortunately, I missed about half of it because my internet went out, and So now I can't even, I'm gonna, there. Now.
Say, Bob,
Yeah.
can you tell us who your internet provider is so we can steer clear?
Yeah, that would be AT&T. Anyway, I'm sorry that I missed the last half of your conversation and most of the questions. But anyway, again, we thank you so much for being with us today. I don't know where to stick. Kind of lost. I've been fighting these two computers at the same time for the last 15 minutes. I have to say, I hate these Zoom meetings. And for this reason specifically.
Good thing you're a photographer and not a computer tech guy.
Exactly. I'm a picture person. Anyhow, again, thanks again for coming, everybody. I do have for my parting thought. It seemed very apropos for us in the world we're living in right now. I don't know who said it. Reading gives us some place to go when we have to stay where we are. So everybody have a good week, and thanks again for being here, and we'll see you next week, everybody. Okay, Jonathan, you can unplug us.